Hi, Amanda here. Again, we were discussing numerology on the previous videos. I still have number 8 and number 9 to do, so I wanted to just jump right into it. If you missed some of the information on the previous videos, I'm just going to preface it by saying there's been a lot of information given here, and it is basically how to work with the energies of the numbers of the day set up on the calendar for universal energy. And then once I get through the universal energies of this number, I was going to break down and show you how this would apply to you. But the information given right now is a temporary vibration, which is because it's only lasting for 24 hours per calendar day. We are reducing the number down to a single digit number because the life cycle of numerology starts at 1 and goes all the way to number 9, and then it starts again at 1 and goes all the way through number 9. So where you are on that day personally, or where we are in the world universally with the calendar days, is the energy and everything that I'm describing right now. So we've been going over numbers, colors, gemstones that are associated with it, key personality traits and key things that can come in as symbolic for that day, and then the energy and the vibration that's associated with that day, or that, I say day because we're going along calendar days, but I truly mean that vibrate with the number of numerology that we're dealing with. So 1 through 9, I'm just associating it with the day to put it into perspective. I've been doing this on the chalkboard here for a lack of better explanation. I haven't found the right whiteboard yet. And I may have a kitty cat coming to visit to help out with this information now, but I'm going to give you the numbers associated with June 11th, 2025. And yes, she's joining us here on the screen, so you'll see her back and her tail. But I'm taking June 11th, 2025, and like I said, we take out the zeros of that day, or of the equation. So we're literally breaking it down to the written version and then the numerical version, 6, 11, 2025. Breaking it down, 6 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 5 gives us a total of 17. So if you add 6 plus 1, 7, plus 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10, 2 is 12, and then adding the 5 is 17. 17 is still a double-digit number. We need to break it down until we get to a single digit. So we just take the 17 and do 1 plus 7 equals 8. So June 11th in the universe was the energy and vibration of numerology number 8. So I'm going to give you what that means. It's actually, depending on if you're vibrating on the positive side or the negative side of number 8, it can actually be a really beneficial day, or it can be a really, kind of not so nice, easy day to go for you. So starting out with the colors, because I had forgotten those in the beginning, but I wanted to tell you, so if you look at my chakra lady back here on my logo, there are 7 chakras, main chakras that go through the body, but then we also have additional chakras that work in the etheric realm, which is considered part of our aura, and also we have different spots that work on our body. So with numerology, the energy of number 8, the colors that are associated with that would be really good to wear on 8 numbered days is silver, beige, walnut, blue-green, lime, gold, and then also, did I get them all? Yes, I did. I got them all. So they're the higher elevations of some of these energies. So basically, if you have anything that's like on a pearlite kind of color where it's mixed in with silver and gray, or a whitish color, or even like a light beige, even if it's tan, like those would actually work. Then we have like the walnut colors and the walnut family. So it's more of like the nut family. I want to say even so much as like hazelnut would be a really good color brown to wear here. Then you have blue-green, which is also aqua green. It is the color of like this thing I use here, so like actually the color of my nail polish, and this here too. So anything in that kind of shade, also the shade of like my curtains. If you have anything in more so of these colors or the lighter colors, they work really well for the number 8. And then the other one was like a lime green. Lime green colors work really well here. Even almost to the point of like neon green that can work in this energy. So any color of the lime, meaning the shade of its skin, or the rind, all the way from the rind to the internal side of lime green. So there's many different colors that span a lime. So if you can kind of go with it that way. And then I'm not sure if I said it earlier, but gold. Gold is another color that comes up on day number 8. Gold came up on one of the other days, but this day is actually a much better day to use it. And one of the reasons why we see 8 as a very successful number, or a potential to be very successful. And as we go in and describe the life path number of number 8, myself and many others who have been doing this for a long time like to kind of describe it as having the Midas touch on things. So if you know anything about King Midas, he had the magic finger. He turned everything to gold that he touched, which could necessarily be, a good thing or a bad thing. It could be a blessing or a curse, the way you look at it. If you touch everything and it turns to gold, and that's great for you and you have a way to use it, wonderful. But then if everything turns to gold and it's so heavy and solid and you can't move or you can't function with it and everything literally becomes a hard state substance, what can you really do with it? Then you can't consume anything, you can't relax on anything. It all becomes hardened and unusable in the means of like everyday living, not necessarily monetarily, but if you follow me along with what I'm saying, that's where it all comes in and starts to make sense. So I've given you the colors. Let me give you the gemstones associated with the day. Again, one of the common threads that I've been going through with all of these numbers is that clear quartz crystal. Clear quartz is a gemstone that works with all energies and vibrations of numbers. So if there is something that you want to wear and you don't necessarily want to change your gemstone each day, and you don't want to change things out, or you want to carry a gemstone on you, a really safe one to choose is clear quartz, because it can be used for any day of the week, and it can be used for any number of whatever it is that you're going through. But beyond that, I know we've had turquoise come up a few times before, but it is overlapping with some of the energies of the other ones. Turquoise is a beautiful stone. It is very useful in nature, and it has been in nature for hundreds and thousands of years. Actually, it's one of the ones that can be traced back to a lot of native cultures, being dug out of the ground and used for ceremonial purposes. So turquoise is one of those gemstones that is I don't think will ever go out of style. There's some that kind of come in and out as time goes on, but I feel like turquoise, especially turquoise jewelry, really stays quite regardless of generation changes and regardless of decade changes and fads and whatnot. I feel like turquoise just kind of stays in there. Okay, so back to my cheat sheet that I've got over here. I want to make sure I don't miss anything for you, but on the other gemstones that are associated with the vibration of number 8 are black pearl and black diamonds. Now, we've had diamonds and emeralds before, and they were the lighter shades, the more see-through stones. Now, if you see, even though we're moving higher up past the higher states of consciousness beyond your third eye and beyond your crown chakra, we're moving into the etheric realm and the auric realm of what's going on around us. But if you notice, the gemstones are starting to change, going back to that more solid state where you can't necessarily see through them, except for the clear quartz. So we've got the black pearl, black diamond, and as I said before, we've got the turquoise and clear quartz. So those are the gemstones that are associated with it. The planet, with no surprise, as things are turning into darker shades of things, is Saturn. So Saturn is associated with the father, whereas before we were talking about Venus and the energy of number 6, that was the female energy, the mother energy, the earth energy, and so is number 4. Now we're on number 8, and it's switching back to more masculine energy, being more the fatherly energy. And along with that fatherly energy, if you think about the energy of Saturn, if you know anything about astrology, Saturn comes with that restriction, that control, the authority, limitations. It comes with being the father figure, being the provider. So it comes with, as you start to realize things and see how it works, if you think about what I said before about 8 being, the life path 8 being associated with the story of King Midas and turning everything into gold, it's also the provider, the provider of the financial means, the provider of the protection, being able to have the control and the ability to touch anything, to change its shape and to shift what it has been. So knowing that comes into play and realizing that energy is Saturn based, it really comes into what Saturn is all about in the astrological realm, which is why I love tying numerology and astrology together and with the elements, because they literally just weave interchangeably in and out of each other's space. So again, the key words and the key qualities that are associated with number 8 are limitations, knowing your limitations and when to put limitations on others and other things. Control, again, it all comes with the balance of knowing, is it too much control, is it not enough? It's not just the fact that you're in control, it's, are you exuding too much control? Are you not being in control enough for what you need in your life? And that's where we can sway on the energy of the more positive side of a number or the more negative side of a number. Because justice is another key word for this. Authority, Saturn is the authority figure. It wants to be in control. It wants to be that parent. It wants to be the head of the household, if you will, because that's the energy that Saturn puts off. It's also an energy of regeneration. So Saturn wants to be able to make things happen time and time again, so it can keep its control, it can keep its authority, it can keep its posture. So those kind of go in together. We've also heard of Father Time. And time comes through a lot, that, dealing with Saturn and the cycles of time, afterlife. Because again, when you're going through the cycle of life, you have to be able to know that after life comes death. You were born. Things may come up about the afterlife. That on day number 8, or the vibration of number 8 may have a lot to do with the afterlife. You may be drawn to things that have to do with what happens after death. It may be about death and dying and destruction, and trying to figure out how does that all play into what you feel, believe, and know. And now how is that lining up with your belief system, and how is that energetically fitting into the construct of your mind and how you're operating here on Earth. So there's a lot that goes into number 8. And with the thought of the afterlife and with what happens after our physical life here on Earth, a lot of us will, live a certain way, because we realize that there is the universal law of karma. There's that wheel of motion that goes on, that, what you put out will come back. And that is a law of the universe. So karma is heavily associated with numerology number vibration 8. So take into consideration all of those things that go with 8. Yes, it can be extremely successful, but it can be to its own detriment. Whether it's successful or not successful, it has to deal with limitations, control, karma, the afterlife, time, regeneration, authority, justice, and then when it comes to, locations and things that we're doing that way, when we're looking at things in different spaces and places and time, it is literally coming up within our mind of the thought or the actual doing of finding a better place to live, or improving our living conditions in some way, shape, or form. So it is literally, how do we improve our lifestyle? How do we improve our domicile? Like, where we consider our home, whether that's physical or etherical. Where do we consider our home? Where do we physically want to be? And how can we improve our living conditions, and how do we have better living conditions? The other thing too, the daily vibration that comes along with number 8 is completing old projects, because again, it's about regeneration. So it's like you want to finish up what you did there, so you can kind of generate and move on to something else. It is about, again, karma and afterlife. Like, you can't have one without the other. So it's like, let's finish up a project that we were working on so we can move on to something better. When it comes to the association to humans, a lot of numbers have a hard time finishing things. Whereas with number 8s, and as you'll see with number 9 as well, their 7s, 8s, and 9s have the ability and tendency to see things through more so to completion, because now we're getting to the end of the cycle of the numbers. So the two big things here is the vibration of being happy, being cheerful, being thankful, being appreciative, and then also being able to complete these projects, and then now taking that project that just has been completed and transpiring it and transgressing it into something else, or now bringing through a whole nother side of a project outside of what you just completed. How do we advance it? How do we make it even better than before? So that is for number 8. And last but not least, we're going to get into the vibration and energy of number 9. So what I'm going, nope, I take that back. Hang on, because I almost missed my my third section of my cheat sheet notes over here. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any information. Yes. Okay, so I touched upon King Midas having the golden touch, but really this energy is also associated, if I didn't mention it before, with business. Very, very high dealings with business. It's usually a successful energy that moves along with business as long as you're moving in the positive energy and making all these things happen and sticking to the procedures, the rules and procedures and the blueprints that you put in place for yourself. And then it's also the energy, because we're talking about gold, it is also about the energy of money. So money fluctuating in, money fluctuating out. Depends on you how much of it you're keeping in your space and how much is going back out. Again, it comes down to that finger with the golden touch. It's either going to be a deficit or a benefit for you, so keep that in mind. And then, of course, because it's ruled by Saturn, the number 8 in this particular sense, it is all coming down to the sense of responsibility, because, those ruled by Saturn are extremely responsible people. At least most of them are. I mean, unless they've got something else going in their chart, but most people who are ruled by Saturn are extremely responsible people, and so they take their responsibility and their duties very, very strictly. So there you go. So that's it for number 8.